What is up, you beauties? My name is BatchatBegins and welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a look at some Hesh spamming tier 8s, and specifically we're taking a look at one of my favorite tier 8 TDs. You guys know I'm very partial to turreted TDs. I love my Scorpion, love my Waffle, and I love my T30 and my Conway, all of those things, but the Charioteer is a great tier 8 tank to use in the current meta because a lot of teams are lacking out on that damage and that stopping power potential. You know, you got a lot of tanks that do 300, 400 alpha, but this thing can absolutely wreck, dealing up in the upper 400s and 500s and dealing a lot of damage with those Hesh shells. It can absolutely put a stop to any push in the game. As you can see, we're starting out here on Port Bay, coming up to the middle, trying to see if we could shoot any of the mediums that go across, but instead of a medium, it's the WZ-121 FT, and we hit him for 500 some damage with the Hesh, and we've knocked his loader out. He is having an awful game right off the start. So that's already a massive amount of influence that we put over this game with the Charioteer. And all I'm doing right here is just waiting for my team to take aggro. I've said it a lot of times, when you're playing a tank that doesn't have a lot of armor, a lot of the time you're going to want your team to take the aggro. Now at the moment I'm just trying to get some shots in. I got a little over greedy, peeked it, shot the M3 and took a shot from the 252U, but we're not going to do that for the rest of the game. We're going to try to conserve our hit points and try and trade effectively when the enemy is not looking at us. Now we really do want to shut down the 121 FT because that is a very, very dangerous tank, and we do not want to leave him alive on the battlefield, because he can absolutely change the tide of a game. But so can we. So with this tank, obviously you have to know weak spots. You have to know what you can and can't Hesh with this gun. Now with the Waffle, obviously you can Hesh it pretty much anywhere, and in fact I chose to load normal HE for that, which does have Hesh properties. I do believe it's like somewhere up in the 80s or 90s for the HE, but the premium Hesh has like 200 some penetration, so you can definitely get some really solid shots with this thing. Just keeping an eye around on the battlefield and trying to determine what the next best target would be. And if you didn't know, the entire side of the low can be Heshed. It is very, very juicy for a tank like this, and we're just going to keep trying to put in some damage where we can, bringing that Lova down to a one-shot. Now, I did look around and I was planning on assisting a bit more, but obviously the AT-15 has a lot of DPM, and I don't really want to let him farm me because I am a two-shot for him. So you can Hesh pin the top of the AT-15 and the sides, so we get going on that and just trying to get some massive high rolls. And right now I'm just trying to assist anywhere I can, providing cover for my heavy tanks who do end up staying alive. And because of the effective fire we put in earlier on the WZ-120, we were able to clear him off of the medium hill to the right. And overall, as you can see, we've done just about 4,000 damage, and this is just one of those things that you can expect from this tank if you're able to get a team that holds enough for you. Now, I know that's not super common at the moment because everyone's, you know, getting out there and YOLOing in their new American heavy tanks, but overall, if you can get a platoon mate, or you can get into a situation where you can trust the people that are holding the line for you so that you can flank and get shots in, it is definitely a devastating tank. As you can see, we've done 4,200 damage and our platoon mate did 2,000. Not too bad. We were able to go ahead and be very effective for our team. Now, hopping into the second battle of the day, as you can see, we're here on the Hellas map. They have a lot of mediums, and we do not have the medium advantage. So at this point, we really need to win medium side, because as you can see, we don't really have incredibly strong holding heavies. We have a M3 and a 1951. Once those things are clipped out, they can get pushed on and obliterated very, very easily. So obviously, as we were talking in the chat, as you can see with all the randoms, we just want to win left. That is the entire plan. So I'm going to go over there and try and play midline, try and assist and get in some massive damage with this gun. Now, if you didn't know, back in the day, the Charioteer was absolutely the strongest tank in the game. Hands down, tier for tier, the strongest tank in the game. It had this same alpha with that Hesh, but it had a like 5.5 second reload. It had the exact gun that the 4202 had. It was ridiculous. It had some of the craziest DPM that the entire game had ever seen. And they nerfed it down. Now it has a 9.1 second reload, but it still has ridiculous carrying potential. Still has 10 degrees of gun depression. Still has ridiculous Hesh. Still gets the speed boost, and it gets the spalt liner that the Waffle and the Borsig and the Grill get. So this thing is still a menace. It can still deal a lot of damage and be very effective on the battlefield. It definitely fits more into the meta now and isn't as broken strong as it was before. Now that shot, I hastily fired that. I should have switched to APCR, would have been a better idea, because all I could really see was just a smidge of his hull and mostly his track, so made a bit of a mistake there. But as you can see, our team is doing a good job of winning this side like we were planning on doing. They're taking a little bit long with the 40T, but we were able to get the Pershing out, and now the 40T has fallen. As you can see, they are pushing our spawn, so the next best thing is to try and push their spawn, finish off the stragglers, and attempt to counterflank and get back to where we are being pushed at. So just trying to kill this Pershing as quickly, or not Pershing, but the Progetto as quickly as possible. As you can see, he is down to a one-shot for myself, but a nice juicy AMX defender decides he's going to come over and YOLO, and we put a fat 500 damage shell right down his throat, and he dies instantly. That brings the totals to 4-1 for our team. So it's looking really solid, but the thing is they do have a good auto-loading heavy in the Yo. They have the M103, and they have a T30, which we don't know where he's at right now. Luckily, he is in that bush over to the left, but he does shoot the Skoda instead of me, which is incredibly fortunate for myself. So at this point, most people would try and rush in and absolutely, you know, try to take this advantage, this 4-1 advantage, and try and win it, like our 4190's doing. But the problem is, their heavies have a lot of tenacity, a lot of staying power. They're not going to be able to be outrooted that quickly, so we need to basically single them, solo them out, bleed them a little bit before we are able to rush in and finally kill them. So I'm just waiting for one of them to make a bad move. I'm thinking it's either going to be the T30 or the Yo, and it looks like the Yo is going to make the first move towards trying to push us out. And we're able to go ahead and get a nice Hesh shell into his side, and that's 472 extra damage off of this tier 8 heavy, which is very, very good for us. And as you can see, the M103 got impatient as well and starts moving, and we're able to get a fat 550 max roll into him, which is fantastic. That makes it a little bit easier for us down the line when we are trying to kill him. As you can see, the Yo having a little bit of trouble hitting us while we're moving back and forth. We are able to get another Hesh into him, but it does roll a little bit low, and we are able to finally finish him off. We're sitting good at about 3,500 damage, but there is still a lot of work. The enemy team have brought it back to 5-3, so they've got 2 kills to our 1 kill that we've gotten recently. And at this point, it's not a smart move for me to go YOLO the T30, even if I did want damage. We need to go ahead and secure this win. The Skoda is trying to deal with him, so that does distract him, which gives me a chance to go ahead and deal with a very dangerous tier 9 heavy. We are able to go ahead and get a Hesh into the side of the M103's turret, which does damage his ammo rack, and the 34-3 is able to go ahead and finish him off, leaving just a T30 left on a decent amount of HP, probably a 2 or 3 shot for us. And I thought he was aiming at the T-34 too, but we were able to make a quick snapshot reaction, and we were able to hit a nice 550 max roll into his lower plate. If you didn't know, you don't even need Hesh to pin the T-30's lower plate. If you are playing like a 268 E3, anything with a 150 alpha gun, and you do have like calibrated, you can go through the T-30's lower plate with HE. It is quite weak, and that is something that will help you out in your battles, hopefully in the future. Anyway, at this point, a Hesh to his hatch will kill him, and we're able to go ahead and snap that off, sealing a 4.6k game and one of the strongest TDs at tier 8 currently. And even if it wasn't the strongest, it's definitely one of the funnest. So you guys ought to take this tank out in the garage, you know, take it out on the battlefield, have a good time, because that's what it's all about. You know, all this Yo spam is getting a little bit boring, so why not play something a bit different, something it takes a little bit of knowledge to play, and you get a lot of good rewards for it too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. My name has been BatchatBegins. All relevant links will be down in the description, and I will see you guys in the next one.